there's a growing number of studies that looks at the long-term effects of Christian missions in colonial Africa. But this literature largely ignores the dynamics of the mission empire, especially during the early and the height of the colonial era. They built churches, but they also built schools and hospitals, so they were social service providers, basically. Long-term studies show that these Christian missions do have effects on contemporary outcomes. We could see that many missions did in fact enter territories before they were formally colonized, but then there's important evidence of interactions, and we see that in restrictive colonies, national missions start entering at much higher rates than foreign missions.
The adoption of property rights in the Philippines during the early 20th century, and we're just trying to solve this puzzle. Why didn't they happen?
We found, to our surprise, that property rights under American rule got unambiguously worse over this period. The incidence of squatting goes up from 2.5% to 7.5%. That due to a series of political and geographical constraints, the incentives were set up that even though the Americans cared and the Filipinos wanted formal property rights, they just didn't have the correct incentives to take them up.
The Filipinos did demand more formal property rights when the prices of the things that they produced were favorable and also where land was relatively scarce.
In 1903, when the Americans took it over, the Philippines had the lowest population density in Southeast Asia. People just struck out to the frontier as squatters. In essence, it wasn't worth it to them to pay the costs and time and effort.
People acted differently when they were in the frontier province versus a non-frontier province.